Hello and welcome to the program. Today we're talking about local city governance. To make it better, an initiative called International Mayors Summit was launched 2 years ago. Now, the annual summit brings together prominent mayors from all over the world to discuss modern trends in urban development, innovations, best practices and common challenges and solutions in all areas of city life. To talk more about this, we're joined in the studio today by Iryna Ozymok. She is the founder of International Mayors Summit. Hello and thank you for joining us.
Hello, good afternoon.
So first question, why did you decide to found this initiative? How did it come?
I work in Western NIS Enterprise Fund, and this fund is basically providing technical assistance to Ukraine in different areas. I manage the local economic development program, and we are supporting education in all areas for kids, for adults, for business leaders, and we decided that cities is also a niche where education is needed, and no one else is doing this. Therefore, we decided to bring best practices here, but what else? It's just to make Ukrainian mayors to share already their success story between themselves, because usually it's more about competition than cooperation, and it seems it works.
Now, how is it a step towards decentralization? Because decentralization is a fundamentally key issue in Ukraine. How is it a step forward? How does it help towards this step?
It both helps and challenges cities because, first of all, they wanted more freedom to decide about the priorities they need to support, they need to develop faster, and now they have this possibility because it's all decentralized. But what else? They have bigger budgets, and sometimes they don't know what to do. You know, the question for them is what to support first, really to make roads perfect everywhere, or to start with public health or safe cities, what we call now, and it becomes a priority everywhere, or what is even more important, climate change, you know. So like with decentralization, they have the possibility to choose together with the community what is the priority and to think together how to achieve the results they want.
Now, so the first International Mayor Summit was 2 years ago. There was one this year. What happened since? What are the evolution? What are the challenges? What did you sow for the better or worse since?
The biggest, let's say, goal for us is to make it's more than a conference. You know, what we want to do, it's just to make them closer to innovations, technologies, to some solution that they can apply basically immediately. That's why we bring people from abroad, experts from the Netherlands, the US, Canada, Israel, all possible countries and cities we can bring here. Second, what is important and what we are doing this year especially, we kind of create a speed dating format to allow mayors to meet business representatives, because honestly speaking, business has more possibilities to drive innovation. They have R&D centers and cities do not have this resource. That's why it's kind of a meeting place. Also, we want this summit to be a very practical instrument, practical platform, let's say. And what we saw, for instance, last year, there were some companies that presented some projects in, let's say, transport innovation and transport development in cities. It was only in one city. After the summit, they started working with 4 other cities. So for us, it's this practical, let's say, value and the implementation of further projects after the summit. And in between, we also monitor what they do. We keep contact, and for some cities, we help them. For instance, this weekend, I went to Voznesensk, which is a small city in Mykolaiv area, and they created a charity event to increase inclusiveness in the city. So basically, they were fundraising for the special car for people with disabilities, and it's quite a big number of these people, you know, and they need some help.
So would you say it's easier for a businessman, maybe from abroad, to deal with local governance, such as the mayor level, than to deal with, you know, the state and bigger entity in the state?
No, I think just that it should be done at different levels. You know, there is state level, local level, I don't know, like B2B, let's say. For instance, this year we are having Daimler, the vice president of Daimler, it's Mercedes Group who is coming to Ukraine. Why it's important? It's not to sell Mercedes to the mayors, but because they developed a special thing which is called rapid bus traffic, a special line where cars are not entering the bus line. It's very accurate problem for Ukraine, and in Kyiv and in other cities we can see it. So we want mayors to see what are the possibilities, what options they have, and then to think whether they want to work with them, whether they want to learn from them, or maybe to talk to another mayor. This year, again, we are having the mayor of Oslo, which is one of the greenest cities in Europe. So we want them to talk like real colleagues and partners with their international colleagues.
But how is it possible to adapt certain model from certain city? I'm thinking about, if you raise this issue of special lanes of Paris, for example, this issue of special lane was a big problem in Paris, and it took time to implement, even though Paris is more used to that kind of regulated cars. How is it possible to adapt a system from one really peculiar city to another really peculiar city in Ukraine?
It's impossible to do the copy-paste, but what is possible is just to learn more about the solution and adapt them. Paris is an exemplary story, especially they have this new technology that helps to see with the map and some 3D visualization where additional lights are needed in the streets for buses. And that's, again, that's the project that is done with the big company established also in France. So what we want Ukrainian mayors to do, it's to learn and to think about their possible solutions, but it will be much easier if they cooperate with either mayors or experts or business representatives from like at the global level. Of course, some solutions cost money, but again, as you mentioned before, decentralization helps to gather money and prioritize. What again is possible, it's what we call co-creation or cooperation, because sometimes business for advertisement purposes, can also co-finance some projects, and that's why we also involve international organizations that can make credits, loans for cities, So basically we also show to the mayors what instruments and financial instruments in particular they can have. Mm-hmm.
How to ensure that these businesses, which of course are going to kind of use also this initiative for their own whitewashing, how to ensure that they don't have major control over one city's infrastructure? How to ensure that I'm retaking the example of the co-advertisement is just one. There's a monopoly there. How to ensure there's no monopoly and that political power doesn't get into monopoly with one business from abroad?
The thing is that we try to show to them what options are possible, So we are not promoting any companies because here we stay neutral, but we see what projects different companies already did in different cities and where there is a great result, practical result. And it's measured by the impact citizens feel, because sometimes we talk about innovations that have just formal impact, because some, let's say, open budget is introduced now in Ukrainian cities, but if citizens are not checking it and not pushing the government to spend logically, and on the needs that they are critical, it's not going to work. It will be just a formal innovation. That's why we check, we see who is doing what, how it can be applicable, and then again we don't say to mayors work with these particular companies. We say like look larger, see, analyze what is possible. And sometimes even the language is important for them, so they can communicate and they can learn about the innovations. That's why we talk and we invite usually mayors and someone else from the municipality. It can be the agency of local development or a deputy mayor who is like proactive and can communicate directly with all these speakers and guests.
So the civil society also have a voice to
For the civil society, we went even further. This year we did a great informational campaign with external advertisement, with billboards and city lights, where you could see, because in Kyiv it's also present, it's in biggest cities in Ukraine. Basically, you can see on the billboard the phrase, what idea can change your city? On our website, we introduced the possibility to write these ideas, and what we are gathering them from civil society, activists, whoever, like citizens, and then we will transmit all of them to the mayors at the summit, and the best one will be able to come to the mayor summit and to present. This engagement of the society is extremely needed, and we again show the examples where it worked, especially with social enterprises that are quite popular, becoming quite popular in Ukraine, and that's again additional human resource for the mayor's office, because sometimes having a team and different services and departments, it's still not enough to move the change. That's why citizens, civil society become additional human resource for the mayor.
So that's one initiative, but what's next for the International Mayor Summit? What's the next step?
We are changing every year. Yes, it shows in our program speakers. Last year we had robots present. This year we introduced this speed dating. I really want this to be a platform for transformation, and we understand that it's impossible to make just an event per year. So we are trying to think of a smaller events or initiatives that will be happening in between mayor summits. We started already doing this. We support different initiatives, but again, for us, like as a fund, we cannot do everything. That's why our idea is to invest in people and activate the citizens and business that can be helpful to cities.
Now, we talked about, and to conclude this interview, we talked about what can mayors from abroad, from foreign countries, from foreign cities, can teach in some sort of way to Ukraine. What can Ukrainian cities teach to other and to foreign mayors?
Ukrainian mayors have one, but probably more, but in this context, advantage. It's when they start doing these changes, they have a different starting point, higher, because they can learn from other cities. But they need to put much more efforts, just to cope with the very fast progress, and then the challenges appearing in the world. Now we are very much into trends, and Ukrainian cities are creating IT in innovation parks. What I know, and that can be a great example, that my Amsterdam colleagues, they were coming to Ukraine to learn how in Kyiv they created this industrial park, and they brought from France École 42, which is like an IT school for free, and now they, after learning Ukrainian example, they introduce it in Amsterdam. So that's already a nice example. Second, the smart city is developing very much. Here we probably learn more from abroad, but then there are some innovations that can be already shared. And initiatives that citizens do together with mayors. For here, a great example is Ivano-Frankivsk, a city in western Ukraine, where there is an initiative called Warm City. They do a lot of project, and it's kind of a social enterprise that helps the mayor's office to finance and generate urban transformation projects in the city with a micro financing, but still it's very important for cities.
Well, thank you for this overview of the initiative. We will surely closely follow this up. It was a pleasure to have you in the studio today.
Thank you. The pleasure was mine.
That was Iryna Ozymok, founder of International Mayors Summit. Thank you for watching the program, and stay tuned for the rest.